Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is January 13th to Wednesday, 2021. I got all mixed up just trying to recite the date. I've long ago lost track of time. But, trying to at least get it right for people that are watching on YouTube after the fact or are listening to the podcast. That is the podcast date for today. Hope you guys are all doing well. Today, I had a little bit of a workout this morning. And, what's backdrawing this thumbnail? Backdrawing the thumbnail of the thumbnail for today, Chris? I'm looking at these comments and I'm like, I don't know what the I don't know. I was just, I tried it whenever I take the thumbnails, unless it's a different thumbnail than what I was expecting. I think I just did like a regular thumbnail today. I have to like press the button on the iPad. I use the iPad to take a picture for the thumbnail, and then I write on it for the thumbnails for the podcast, for the live stream. And I think that I just moved my hand away, not fast enough. And sometimes when I do the thumbnail, I do like the photographer trick where you like look down and you go 1, 2, 3, and then you look up and you smile. Sometimes I do that. Other times I try to go like a little smile, then big smile. So because it does like the countdown timer. So those are like the little tricks that I use to make it look more like fun. Otherwise, it looks very staged, and I'm taking a picture for a thumbnail, so it looks staged. It will, but that's kind of like just some of the behind the scenes for that. So that's all that's going on with that. But I don't know if there's more to this story that I'm not aware of. But anyway, I had a workout today this morning. Did a little bit of a threshold workout today. And it was tough. I had a hard time with it. I think I'm kind of not coming down with something, but like, my throat is getting a little bit scratchy. I feel like a little bit more mucus when I'm running. And I've been a little bit tired. So I'm like, it's time to kind of take care of myself a little bit more. I got some emergency, that stuff in here. It's basically, what is it? It's this stuff. It's like vitamin C. It's got antioxidants, B vitamins, and electrolytes. I've been taking that and some more of this stuff. What is this? This Noon. So I've been drinking like that stuff. The Noon Immunity. It has like echinacea and stuff like that in it. I don't know if it helps or not, but it makes me feel like it helps, and I'm getting more hydrated rather than having my normal afternoon coffee. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. Philip says, "Will be hard to get used to a different background in the videos once I'm back in Chicago." Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to do the live streams from. That part is going to be a little bit difficult to figure out. Because before, like what's been nice with this setup is like I just have it plugged in and I leave it. In Chicago, I would have to undo everything every single time, and that got super annoying. But there just isn't a lot of space for me to kind of leave things set up. That's kind of like one of the drawbacks of where we are at home is everything needs to be used and then put away. It's kind of like tiny house living, so it's a little bit of that. But the lighting is usually a lot better. I mean, this lighting is pretty good. I'm just using natural light from a window, but there's a lot more windows at home. And so the lighting is easier, but other than that, it's just a different background. Where I had been doing the live streams, it was white behind me. I had these like white cabinets. That was nice too, because then like what I was wearing or whatever was like more easy to define. And so I felt like it framed me better. There's just like a lot of darkness. My hair is dark. My shirts are usually dark. There's like a lot of darkness. So it's not the ideal background. I don't know what room raters would rate this as. Probably as an F. Just so you know. That's my thoughts on it. Ines is here, says, "Hi, Kofuzi, everyone. How's the packing going?" I haven't done any. Well, my wife started doing like a little bit of packing. I've been doing some packing like already. Like summer stuff is already gone. Not gone, but like in a box and stuff. We're going to have to figure out the toy situation at some point because Christmas happened and like the kids have toys and birthdays have happened. And so we're going to have to figure out like what they're actually going to want. We're not going to be able to take everything back right away. So it's like, how do we do that? I would love to help more and have more of an active role in it, but my wife does not like it when I participate in packing. So I just usually just take care of my stuff and that's it. And that'll take me like a couple hours. That's all. So I'll be doing it probably in a couple of days. Jana says, "Hi everyone, we'll be studying for embryology exam while listening. Hope everyone is having a great day." Wow. Fascinating. Jeff Elliott is saying, I wish he could take a nap. His dumb brain won't slow down and let him do it. Today's a crazy day. Yeah, so my wife and I went to get our COVID tests today because I wanted to try and get a negative test, I guess touch wood, knock on wood, before we went back to Chicago. Not that we needed to, but it would be a lot easier for us in terms of moving around if we can get those. So we did that today, and while we were going down, we were just listening to the radio, and every radio station is on the House speeches, which are of varying qualities and calibers, let me tell you. But so I don't know if that's what your racing brain is about today, Jeff, but it's a very strange day for sure. Bert Leguez says, hi all. What's going on, Bert? Good to see you again. And Recycle on Wednesdays here. Ed Chan's here says, happy Wednesday. Bert Leguez says, I watched the Golden Trail Championship 2020 on YouTube yesterday. Cool video and amazing runners. I think, is that one where there's is there a couple videos for that? For the Golden Trail series? I've seen one, I think if I'm talking about the same thing, where everyone was just racing down this giant downhill slope, and it was so foggy and you couldn't see anything. And so I was like, how are people even running in this, let alone racing down it? And people were racing, overtaking each other and stuff. It was crazy. And there's this dude with a camera on a stick, following these guys. I was just really impressed. I think if we're talking about the same thing, it's pretty impressive. Kevin Bickerton's here. Good to see you, Kevin. Mark Chancoco says howdy. Chris Smith is coming in from Maryland. Welcome. If anyone else is new here, welcome. There's no structure. We're just hanging out today. And if you have a running question or any question at all, feel free to just drop it in the chat, or just let me know where you're from if it's your first time or one of your first times, because I'd love to be able to say hi to everybody. Pessimistic Runner is here, says howdy y'all. Martha's here, says hola, hello, hi. Very cool. And howdy. She says, and howdy too. David Gutierrez says, been lagging on running, but going to get back after it tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow's always another day. You can always get to it. Awesome, David. He said he was starting doing DoorDash and trying to get that done like crazy. Oh, interesting. Matt852 is here, says, hello all. What's going on, Matt? David Prabhu says, happy hump day. I was kind of hoping that today would have been a happy hour day. I was I opened the fridge trying to clear out all the leftovers, and I feel good about it. I knocked out a couple of containers. That's always a good to-do list item for me when I can finish a container of leftovers. I think I knocked out 4 containers of things today. Not that they were all huge, but a little bit of leftover vegetables, a little leftover this, a little leftover that. And I saw the beers in the fridge. I'm oh, I could go for a beer today. I might still go for a beer later today. But, I had a workout, so I try not to have too many drinks on the days I have workouts because I feel like they kind of negate each other a little. So, I don't know. I'll probably end up having a beer today. Radical and Athletic Chicago said, yeah, you made it again. Hello all from Chicago. Well, welcome. Awesome. Good to see you, RAC. I'm going to say RAC because Radical and Athletic Chicago is a lot. I'll also say RAC. What's going on? Leona's here. Good to see you again. And Dr. Rami Nader is here again as well. Very cool. Very cool. Right. Let's scroll down. Joshua Cochran says, how much water do you drink in a day? If we take out consideration of coffee, I think I'm lucky if I drink one of these, which is I think 12 ounces. I'm lucky if I drink one of these a day. I'm not very good about it. That's why I do like noon, because it's kind of oh yeah, it's a reminder to drink more water. But lately I've been just trying to make myself in between cups of coffee have at least a mug full of water too, to increase the water intake. Because I just think that if I did that, that would probably help me feel a lot better. Just recovering from workouts better, sleeping better, just feeling better. I think it would, Carlos says, hi, everyone. What's going on? And Run Minnesota's here from Minneapolis. Very cool. Very cool. Troy Argenbright says, hey, Mike, have you tried Athletic Brewing? I want to order some, but haven't yet. I haven't tried any of their stuff yet. At least I don't think that I have. I might have to do that too. I keep getting the ads, and for me, if there's enough ads of it, I'll probably end up buying it. Instagram ads are very effective on me, I will definitely say. So, Jed Stickler says, hey, Kofuzi, thanks for the advice. Enjoying the Boston 9s for the faster runs. Awesome. He says he's tempted by the Hoka Mach 4s next. Will you be reviewing them? I think so. So I've been telling you guys that someone's someone sent me a pair of the Hoka Carbon X2s, but they sent them to Chicago, to my Chicago address. I think in that shipment there's also a pair of Mach 4s. So I'm hoping for that. I'll find out in a handful of days. So if that's the case for both of those shoes, if they're there, then we'll see, videos on those shoes sooner. If they're not there, I'll probably get to those shoes at some point. I've just been holding off because I think that they're going to be waiting for me there. And Ben Y says, it makes me anxious if I don't have my water bottle filled with me. I think that's just something I got to get into a better habit of. I'm just having the water bottle full. Usually what I do when I'm at home is I'll fill it once, chug it, and then fill it again. Because then if I don't, then I end up like drinking it, most of it by the time I walk to wherever else in the house that I'm going out after the kitchen. And then it's just like I have this empty water bottle I'm carrying around. But I haven't been doing that here. I've instead, because my father-in-law is so good about keeping the coffee pot full, I usually keep it full of coffee. So that's what I've been doing. That's kind of been not a problem. I mean, I enjoy the coffee, and my father-in-law, they don't like their coffee like super strong, so it's like good sip all day kind of coffee. So, it's been it's been very potent enabling. Teddy Man Tactico says, "Hey Kofuzi, who won the intellectual property rights war? Nike Flyknit or Adidas PrimeKnit? Any idea?" I wasn't aware that there was an IP battle between those two. But that's fascinating if there was. That might explain why like there was a momentary like deviation away from Flyknit, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I wasn't aware of that. Aditya Raj Agrawal says, "Are there new Pegasus coming soon?" The Peg 38s won't be coming out till June. Like they come out about the same time every year. I think it's late May, early June is when they usually hit. But that's a shoe that like Nike has ready like really far in advance. I think mostly because they have to make so many of them. It's such a good selling shoe that usually you'll probably start to see some early photos of them soon, and then they'll start sending them out to like their people that they like to seed them with. A lot of like their pros and their other kind of like influencers that they like to seed product with. CSEED, seed product with. So you'll probably start seeing that soon. I remember, it was maybe February of last year, where there was like a big thing at Nike headquarters last year where a lot of YouTubers went. I believe in the Run went. Emma Abrahamson went. I think Mary Beth went. They were talking also about like the Project, because I just started seeing some stuff for Project Fearless. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that stuff like soon. Because last year it was for Project Fearless, which was like the half marathon thing that they were doing in LA before everything kind of got canceled. So this is about when things start to ramp up, but there's not going to be anything for sale for a while. Sriram Rajendran says, "How to find motivation to run in winter? I haven't ran since the start of winter." I mean, if you're really not feeling it, I'd say take a break. But I would kind of caution against taking too long a break, or just taking seasons off. For me, I saw the most growth in my running when I just stopped thinking running as being a seasonal thing and running as being a year-long thing, a constant thing. There might be changes in intensity, and in changes in like mileage and things like that. But like, I try not to think of running as being like there's a season for it. The gear that you wear just changes a little bit. That's all. So, so that's kind of like what I think. And if you're having a hard time getting out there, I think I've been seeing a lot of stuff along those lines lately. And I think that the best kind of, I would kind of do, I agree with some of it very much, and I disagree with some of it very much. The things that I disagree with are that a lot of people are out there saying, if you're having a hard time getting out there in the winter, just go out there for a mile. Just go out there for 10 minutes, go out there for 5 minutes or whatever. Just do that. And you'll probably end up staying out there a lot longer because you're going to end up enjoying it. That, I think, is great advice. The other thing that people are saying is, make sure you don't overdress. Be careful about how many layers you're wearing. You don't want to get out there and be sweaty. I say go the opposite way. If it's very cold where you are and you're just like, I don't know if I want to get out there because it just seems so cold, overdo it like crazy, because you're only going to be out there for 10 minutes anyway. Then as you start to get like used to it and you're like, every day I come back and I'm dripping wet and this is ridiculous, then you start peeling back on some of the layers. I feel like that's the better way to titrate it in terms of figuring out what's your right level of winter wear, is way overdo it. If you need to go out there in a bubble coat, Gore-Tex bubble coat, do it. That's fine. And then you'll eventually figure out that's way too much. That's the two ways that I would kind of handle like lack of winter motivation. Mark Chankoko says, get on the treadmill for a bit. It keeps him going. Yeah, I think that like this would be a really great time if I had access to it to do a lot of like Zwifting on the treadmill. I think I would like that. New Betra said, I just did one of the Nike Run Club guided runs. Pretty fun. Well, that's cool. I still never done one of those. And Will Willing coming in with the super chat. Thanks, Will, so much. Says safe travels back to Chicago. Yeah, my wife and I are pretty like a little bit nervous about it. I mean, it should be fine. I mean, weather-wise, I think we're going to be good. The biggest thing is we just don't want to stop. It's long enough that it's tough when you have a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old to be able to make it that far, but they've done it a couple of times. And so that's like our biggest thing. I don't want to stop anywhere in between. So hopefully we could do that. So I will, I think the super chat and the good vibes, I think will definitely help. Let's see. Yeah, and Radical Athletic RIC says, if you're out for longer, you can do an apartment loop and just, do smaller loops close by and drop a layer off in the door when you come around. That's also good advice too. I was watching, I think it was Jordan Thomas. He made a winter running video and he was like, do smaller loops. So that way, like in case, and if you get into trouble, say like you were too cold or you didn't bring any hydration with you or you got to go to the bathroom or whatever, you're never too far from home. So that's another thing. That's definitely something to do as well. Yeah. Run Tommy says, when my kids were younger, we just bring a soccer ball and play soccer at rest stops on long car rides. Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I just don't want to get out of the car and risk exposure to other people because, yeah, I mean, there's a very big difference between New Vienna and Chicago in terms of the way that people handle being around other people. And I just don't want to be around any people. That's the thing. Krug's #1 fan says, how long have you been in New Vienna? We've been in New Vienna for, it'll be almost 6.5 months, because we came here basically like the first weekend in July. We were in Gothenburg for a month. We were like quarantining and just making sure like we had to escape to Chicago, so to speak, and spent a month in Gothenburg. And then in July we came. So the second half of the year plus like, about half a month. So it'll be 6.5 months we were in New Vienna. So yeah, that's the longest time I've been in New Vienna, by about 6 months. Recycle on Wednesday says, I agree. I ran with my winter coat my first winter. It wasn't fit. I wasn't fit enough to keep my body temp up. Yeah, I think that there's so much pressure to get it right. And I feel like that I'm adding to it too with like all my winter running videos and stuff. But I just feel like in the beginning, just go with what you got and then figure it out the rest of the way from there. And Mr. Random says, winter running means a load of washing, but I love suiting up with the winter gear. I just don't like when my shoes get too dirty. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's just so much of it. And even if you're just like, even if you don't wash it every time, which a lot of the winter stuff you don't have to wash every time because it's not like you're dripping with sweat. But like, where do you put it all? You got to let it air out and dry and hang up. And, there's so much stuff, even if you're not like doing a lot of washing. Lawrence Sand says, hi, Co. Do you think lifting heavy is detrimental to running? Was recently interested in powerlifting and wondering if the two don't mix together well. I mean, there's a couple of people that come to mind when I think about like very heavy lifting and running, and they're still doing it pretty well. I mean, Ryan Hall is one, like, I think prominent example, although I don't know how well he's running, but I mean, he's on the bike for his wife's workouts. So, I mean, even if you're on a bike, you're biking pretty fast if you're keeping it with Sarah Hall, I feel like. So there's that. I mean, he's like giant now, especially compared to where he was. And then there's people like Nick Barr, which, Bear, Nick Bear, which people have a divided set of opinions on. And that guy seems to be pretty polarizing. I like the guy, to be honest. I don't know. There's something that I'm drawn to with Nick. But he's an interesting guy, but he's very big. He was much heavier before, and now he's started taking up endurance sports like Ironman and marathons. So he's trimmed down quite a bit. And I do think that at a certain point, if depending on how you're running, they will counteract each other a little bit. And so it could get very difficult in terms of like your nutritional and recovery goals and how you're spacing things out. But like for me, I don't think that like that would really become like a big deal, because I don't have the motivation or the passion with the lifting for that to ever get in the way, of running. So I'm not too worried about that, but I also just don't like weights or the gym very much these days. But I think there's also that guy that's called Running 26.2. That guy, he's super fast and he's a pretty big guy. So, I mean, people do it. People can, it's not impossible. But if you're interested in both, do both. And then, see where it takes you. I don't think there's no prohibitions out there as far as I'm concerned. James Paul says, for the winter, zippered hoodies are clutch. DB says, anything sub 30 degrees is tough, but once you get moving, I love the cold. Yeah, I think I just like having the layers. I don't know, like it just feels like an armor in a way, and I just prefer that in a lot of ways. Can't really explain, but I don't know. I just like it. I like colder weather running. Joshua Cochran said, do you have a favorite YouTube influencer in the running arena? I mean, Jamie, Seth, James Moore, all my friends. Thomas, Believe in the Run. Those guys, favorite? I can't pick a favorite. They're all my favorite. There's Emily, Ed, Andy. There's so many good people. I feel like it's a very good time for running YouTube right now. And I think it can be even better too. There's a lot of people. I don't know if it's just the new year. I've never really kind of kept track of the trend or not. If a lot of new channels start around the new year or what, it would make sense if that happened. But it seems like I've been seeing a lot of new channels. So a video that I'm trying to make is a top 5 women YouTube running channels that are not just trails. Because I think there's some, not that there's a lot of representation there. There's some. But I think of just like people that are more like me, just road runners, just regular people, not like sponsored athletes. There's not as many. And so like I'm trying to like find a list. It's hard to put together a top 5, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, Adam Hertel says, running in winter also means you get to buy more cool running gear. That's certainly true. There's a lot you can buy. It's a big rabbit hole you can go down. And I alternate between like, I'm pretty good. You just layer with the stuff you got, or like, I need very expensive specialty gear. The very expensive specialty gear is very good. But do you need it? For some weather, I think you do, but I don't think it's an absolute necessity. So like, it's justifiable. Remy says, missed you guys. Past couple. My mouse is like frozen. I think my wireless mouse battery's dying. Remy says, missed you guys last few days. Hectic couple of days. Well, I'm glad you're here today. Yeah, Chris says, not sponsored. I don't know. But Gwen Jorgensen puts out a lot of videos that cover a lot of detailed content. I do like Gwen's channel a lot. But like, I'd like to see more. And I think she's doing some of the best work from like a pro perspective. Like I feel like I think I'm not unaware of that there are some difficulties for women having YouTube channels that as a man I don't have, So that's why I think it's even more important to support the female voices that are out there. but like, you know, she's a pro, and her type of videos are very different. Like, it's not her, she's not like walking around like this, like holding the camera to herself, you know. She's got like a crew, or at least her husband is you know, filming all of her videos. And Patrick is an agent. I don't know. I don't think he's her agent, but he is an agent. So I mean, like, someone like in the industry is like in charge of that, you know. So like, I mean, Steph Bruce used to have a lot more as she was building up to Chicago. Was it last year and the year before? But then I mean, I don't know if the algorithm's just not feeding her stuff to me, or if she hasn't been making a lot. I haven't checked very much recently, but you know, I just feel like a lot of the pros, at least their teams, are starting to like realize, hey, we got to put these people in front of camera more, so people can like figure out what their personalities are and relate to them. So people, like, companies are figuring that out. But I also feel like at this point, pros are still kind of relying heavily on that. And so someone had mentioned something about Ali Ostrander. Jeff says, I like Ali Ostrander's new stuff. Gwen is good, and it's cool to see the other Nike women runners in some of their group runs. Yeah. I've been watching some of Ali's channel, and I'm just like, I think I'm too old to be watching this. Like, I'm not relating some of the time, because I think that she's just a little bit younger than I am. And so I think it's great, and I support it, and I think that it's got a lot of fun energy to it. But sometimes I'm just like, I don't know if these videos are for me. And that's another thing that I get from a lot of the women running YouTubers too, is that it feels very much like a women's space, and I sometimes feel like when I'm there, I'm intruding. I don't mean to be, and I mean there to be there in a supportive way, and because I like running. But sometimes it just feels like, you know, people are like, who's this guy? So that's another thing too. Joshua Beal says, do you recommend a buff for winter running? Never tried one, but thinking of buying. I do. It's good not only to keep your face warm, but also good in case you need to cover up if you're in an area where you can't maintain a social distance. So it's a good twofer. So I do like them. I run with some sort of neck covering every day, even out here where I don't run into people. I usually start out with it, and depending on the day, I might have it on the entire time. But I don't know if it's the facial hair or if just I'm getting older and I've lost some nerves in my face, but like I don't seem to need it as much on some of the colder runs. So I've just been like putting it down after my warm up. So I don't know. But yeah, I still recommend it, and I still run with it every day because I feel like keeping the neck warm also helps with my core temperature. All right, lost the camera for a second, and there it is back. I don't know why it does that. All right, let's keep scrolling down. Oh, Mark Chankoko says, they don't allow gaiters or buffs at Disney. Gotta have a mask. Oh, yeah. I mean, their rules are pretty strict. They don't allow full face helmets either. So, like, if you wanted to run in a stormtrooper costume, for example, it has to be one of the plastic ones that only goes on the front of your face and not behind your head. I'm presuming for some sort of security and facial recognition reason. I don't know how that works, but you can have it on part of your face. But I think also what Mark's saying is like the gaiters don't satisfy or as the face covering that you would need, because there's been some studies saying that like the polyester in them doesn't do an adequate job in reducing the spread of particles. So it could be, I don't know if it's that or if it's a security reason or maybe both. Who knows? Chris Reed says, what are the best running tights? I don't know. Trying to think one of my favorite. I like John G's running tights a lot. I run in those frequently. I like my running tights from Roadrunner Sports. They make a half tight that I love. It's pretty cheap. The Challenger half tight, 7-inch. They make a 9-inch as well. 7-inch. And I also like the full length pant from Roadrunner Sports. It's like they're not the best tights, but they have pockets on each side of your hip, so you can put gels in a phone if you need to do that. And they're pretty cheap. So like bang for buck, those are probably my favorite. And then I just got a pair of Tracksmith ones. I'm not sure if they're my favorite, or they're the best or not. They're very, very tight. That's one thing. Or very form-fitting. I'll say that. Teddy Man wants to know, how many running shoes do I own? Let me guess, 100? Not 100. I think I'm probably in the 20s right now. There's a lot of shoes down. Just because this year or in 2020, every brand came out with at least one carbon-plated shoe, and you just don't put a lot of miles in them. especially in a season without races or a year without races. And so like I just have them all, you know, and so that made a lot of shoes. And then of the non-plated shoes that are in my rotation, there's probably like 6, not that many at a time. I go through those pretty quickly. But yeah, so yeah, it's a lot right now. The most accurate measure I can give you is a giant contractor's garbage bag full of them. That's how many I have. Jeff Elliott says, our temps are pretty mild, but mostly the first thing I have to worry about with the cold is my hands. I saw something on Instagram stories today where someone was like, they had taken a screenshot of their weather. It was like 37 degrees. And they were like, the question is, do I run without gloves and freeze my hands, or do I run with gloves and make my hands sweat? And for me, I'm like, at 37 degrees, I need gloves. My hands get real cold real fast. I mean, even into the 40s, I'd probably like some gloves, like maybe a thin pair. I could be in like shorts and a t-shirt, and I mean, I've done shorts and a t-shirt and gloves. That's me. Like everything else will be warm, but my fingertips, I don't know if the circulation's not good or what. Oh, Chris Dyke says, howdy folks, next percent just came in. They are narrow. They are a bit narrow, that's for sure. Shannon says, are you going to give your endo speeds away since they hit 100 miles, or are you going to make an exception? I'm probably going to give them to my nephew to see if they want those. I don't think they'll want them, but like I just have like I haven't given him any shoes in a while. And I think I probably got like 7 or 8 pairs of shoes that are at the point where I need to get rid of them. Just I need space, and so I will be parting ways with them. But now here's the crazy thing: one of my nephews is 14. I'm sorry that I don't know his age. He's 14 or 15. I want to say 14 because I don't think he's driving yet. Around here they drive, I don't know, ridiculously early. So I think he's 14 and he's a size 9. He's the third of 5. The baby of the family, who is my daughter's age, only a couple months older than my daughter, he's 9. He's already an 8.5. So he's a big boy. He's tall. And so he can have all my shoes. I did get him a pair. He wanted a pair of shoes for Christmas, and his request was a pair of athletic shoes that you don't have to tie. So I bought him like a pair of Metcons that have no laces on it, like a special edition of them. But I don't know that he's interested in running shoes. He plays basketball and stuff. So the other thing he asked for was tights that you can wear under shorts. Well, he said pants. He didn't say tights, but he's like, I want the pants that you wear under shorts. And my sister-in-law his mom sent me a screenshot of like a dude in basketball shorts with tights underneath. So I was like, ooh, I know tights. I can get you tights. But I didn't call him tights because I think he probably said pants very specifically. But yeah, he'll get a crack at them. Otherwise, they'll go to charity. Around here, New Vienna, Iowa. I don't know that there's that many runners, but we'll see. Josh Cochran said, I heard you talk really good about the Durban Speed, so why'd you give them away? Are they not one of your favorite shoes, or just don't have room for them? Just wondering. I don't have space. I can't. I don't have a studio or a store. I mean, I need to get a storage unit because I have to clear out my office. But we'll be getting a storage unit. But I guess we have a car now too. So I didn't have a car to get to a storage unit either. So it was really impractical for me to store anything in a storage unit. So I'm just very accustomed to, after I'm at the 100-mile mark, getting rid of shoes to make room for new ones. So yeah. Scotty B's here. Presently, brought my noon snack. All right, cool. I'm drinking Emergen C today, just a vitamin C, fruity, citrusy drink. New Extra says the laceless Adidas basketball shoe is fascinating. The first one was also the debut of Lightstrike, if I recall correctly. Is it really? I think I would like Lightstrike in a basketball shoe. I think that'd be pretty cool. 10-minute Tactical says there are many tights out there, but no shorts for them. Yeah, I mean I think he's 9, so I think that the style right now is to have like the tights and then that still have like the 9-inch short that come over the knees. I think that's like the look. Especially since like here's a weird thing. I don't know if other places that are like suburban are like this too, but here in Iowa, no one wears a jacket because you just go from like your house to your car that's heated. You probably started the engine while you were inside to let the car heat up, and then you drive to wherever you're going, and your mom dropped you up front, and you just run inside real quick. So I think that's part of it, is like to handle like the commute of like being outside for like 30 seconds at a time too. And then I think the gyms are like a little bit chilly because it's winter. So like that's how the kids are dressing these days. So that's why he's using them to play basketball, not to run in. But I got him running tights. They're Under Armour too, though, so I think they're not necessarily running tights. But Under Armour is very popular around here. Mark says you can get your nephew one of those Nike Hyper Adapts. They're only $500. Is that the shoes that like that lace themselves? Is that one? I thought they were cheaper than that. Cooper Davis says, what type of shoe do you think would complement the Peg 37s? I think it depends on what else you have in the rotation and what else you need from them, right? So I think the Peg 37 for me tends to be like an everyday trainer, but at least the way the Peg 37 was kind of laid out, it's a little bit of a shorter distance shoe. So I would look for something longer. I think that probably the Infinity React is a good pair to it to go for like your longer, slower runs. Or, if you're in a country that has the Vomero 15, that probably would be a good one, or the Vomero 14, which I think is still available in the US. That could be a good pair. But if you're looking to go faster with the Peg 37, I would probably seek out a pair of Peg Turbos 2s, if you could still find them. Otherwise, like the Next Percent, the Tempo Next, or like a Vaporfly, or kind of like the shoes that I would pair with it to go together. So you would have the Peg 37 for every day, and then something faster, more exciting for your workouts or your races. All right, Stevie76 is back from his meeting. Welcome. All right. Salmasian says, just replace my Fuel Cell Rebels with Hyperion Tempos. They are the truth. I mean, that's a big switch, because the Fuel Cell Rebels, they're both fast shoes, but the Rebels were a short stack height, but a little bit squishy and a little bit bouncy. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like a spongier Ultra Ego Foam. Those two shoes I was wearing at like the same time, and I'm like, oh, these are kind of similar. Very different ultimately, but like there's like a analogousness there to it. And then the Hyperion Tempo is just not soft, is not the word I use for it, but I mean, I prefer the Tempo to the Rebel for sure, though. All right, we'll do one more, and then I gotta get going for today. It's actually kind of warm in Iowa today, so we're gonna try and play out in the snow again. Getting a couple more like playing out in the snow sessions before we have to head back to Chicago. Adam says, Kofuzi, my wife and I loved your video of the Ragnar Tetons. After we completed Ragnar Snowmass and saw your video, we signed up for Tetons. Unfortunately, it was 2019 and canceled, so now it's on 2020. Or is it 2020 and canceled, then on to 2021? Yeah, the Tetons one was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one a lot. I mean, I struggled with the altitude for sure, and then the amount of climbing that was there was crazy. But the atmosphere was really great, and I really love Ragnar events. And I like the trail. I don't really love the road ones. If I had a really tight knit group of people, I did one with a team where I knew like a quarter of the people on the team, or like a half of the people on the team, and it was good. But I think if I knew everyone on the team, that'd be a little bit different for a road. But the trail ones, it's not like a move. It's not constantly moving. Everything kind of stays, and you just do like loops around like a home base. And so that's really nice. And it just feels like a big running festival all weekend, And so like everyone's running hard, you're recovering, you're drinking a lot of coffee, having some beers. It's just fun. Just a fun time to spend out the weekend running and kind of camping too. So I'm a big fan. I can't wait to do another one. My running buddy, I had like not a secret, but like one of the big things that I wanted to do last year, my running buddy and I wanted to do the Ragnar Black Diamond, which is a little bit different. So the way the Ragnar events work is like everyone on your team does 3 runs over the course of however long the event is. There's a green loop, like a yellow loop, and a red loop in terms of difficulty, elevation gain, distance, that kind of thing. and you have a team of, I think we had 8 people, something like that. It's a pretty big team. And so you do like, however many loops that is total. So each person does 3 loops. That's how many you do. And you get a team score. But there's a thing called Black Diamond where it's teams of 2, and you both run at the same time together, and you do all 3 of those, the red, green, and the yellow. And also you do a Black Diamond, a 4th one that's even harder all together. And so that I kind of like even more, because then it's more like an adventure race, just with me and my buddy, like another person. So that's kind of like one of the things that we really want to do. And we were looking at one in the Appalachians because it worked out on our schedule. So that's one that's kind of like something that I'm really looking forward to doing at some point. So we'll see about that. But in either event, I'd love to do a Ragnar event. We got to figure that out too. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, I've not seen any footage from the Snowmass one. That sounds interesting. Awesome. All right, I think that we're gonna leave it there for today, guys. Tomorrow's video, I'm not sure what it's gonna be about. I have an idea, but I'm not sure. We'll see what I come up with. But tomorrow afternoon, it's Thursday, happy hour. So bring your favorite recovery beverage, whether it's non-alcoholic or alcoholic, and we'll hang out and do this again, same time, 3 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody.